Welcome to Homefront Sit Rep. I hope you're in for a great show today, because I'm just a veteran talking about what's on my mind and maybe yours.
You can find Homefront Sit Rep on Apple, Amazon, Spotify, or wherever you find your favorite podcasts. You can also check out Homefront Sit Rep's YouTube channel.
Buckle up, the show is starting.
Out on the edge of the battle and back, we've carried the weight and we've walked every track. From desert dust to the fire at home, we've learned how to fight, how to stand alone. But no one tells you what comes after the war, when silence is louder than the guns we bore. That's where we speak, that's where we heal, with stories too real for Hollywood reels. Welcome to the front lines you don't always see, we're warriors to battle just differently. This is our check-in, our voice, our step. This is the Homefront Sit Rep podcast. For the fallen, the fighting, and those who came home. For the brothers and sisters who still feel alone. We're holding the line with truth and respect. This is the Homefront Sit Rep podcast. For the fallen, the fighting, and those who came home. For the brothers and sisters who still feel alone. We're holding the line with truth and respect. This is the Homefront Sit Rep podcast. It ain't all medals and waving flags. There's pain in the silence and weight in the facts. But we've got a mic and a mission to share, to tell the damn truth, cause somebody's gotta care. We laugh, we cry, we cuss, we pray. We honor the ones who ain't here today. From basic to battle and back to the block. This is our rhythm of round table talk. Welcome to the front lines you don't always see. We're warriors to battle just differently. This is our check-in, our voice, our step. This is the Homefront Sit Rep podcast. Still heavy in dreams out of reach, full of lessons the textbooks could never teach. We're sounding off, no filter, no prep. This is the Homefront Sit Rep podcast. So if you've worn the boots or love someone who did, if you swallowed your hurt and kept it all hid, pull up a chair, you're not alone. Welcome to the front lines you don't always see, where courage meets scars and raw honesty. This is our anthem, our truth intercept. This is the Homefront Sit Rep podcast. For the ones still standing and those we've lost yet, for every single story we'll never forget. We speak so others won't forget. This is the Homefront Sit Rep podcast. Real talk, real vets, real life. Homefront Sit Rep podcast, where the mission continues.
Welcome, everybody, to a Monday edition of Homefront Sit Rep. How is everybody doing? Gunny, how are you, sir?
Good, man. Lazy day. Didn't leave the house. Didn't do much. But, prepared some dinner. Did a little crock pot, beef stew and noodles type deal. And sat around, relaxed, get ready for the show after this busy weekend that we had.
Definitely. So I went to work. Wasn't a bad day. Weather was kind of cold this morning. And then it warmed up to a good 55 to 60 degree day.
Not here.
Beautiful day for me here in Louisville, where I was at, and I was outside working, and man, I tell you what, I had a good time. Mr. James Thornton, how are you, sir? Busy weekend. Of course, if you missed last night's show, on Saturday, Gunny and I had the opportunity and privilege to go to Warrior Rounds Kentucky style. Mr. James Thornton and JT Cooper put together an amazing event where they paired 8 community heroes, whether they were a Gold Star family member, cancer survivor, military, law enforcement. They paired them with singer-songwriters, and they wrote a song about that veterans or that community hero's life. And there was not many dry eyes in the crowd that night. So it was the first one in the state of Kentucky, because normally it's done in Nashville. It was the first one done in the state of Kentucky, and it was a really really great time. I had a great time. The wife needed tissues multiple times, and then I think Gunny was about to rip some little kid's head off while we were there, but because she
I
kept getting in
mean,
front of the camera.
it is what
Um,
it is, man.
it
Enjoy your
is what it
kids.
is.
I'm not there to babysit them.
Right, right. I mean, it's trial and error. First one, trial and error, and it'll get better every year as long as it continues to happen here in Kentucky. And I'm super excited about it. And um, other than that, man, tomorrow I'll be heading up your way after I get off work. I got to go get Grace from EKU. She's done
That's not
for
my way. You're going east, man. I'm north.
well
I'm north.
northeast from me, northeast from
For
me.
you. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
northeast from me, south
Because
of you.
Richmond's still hour and 40 south of me.
Oh, dang, okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's an hour and some change from me.
yeah.
Yeah, James said I didn't cry, it was all the smoke.
I see him poke his finger in there a couple of times, so
Yeah, yeah.
maybe his nail caught the edge of it or something, and some tears started coming down.
Yeah, I think it was the dust in there, yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah.
But
Or
no,
it
I
was
was
the flowers for that other event when we walked through. Maybe he's got
yeah,
some allergies or something.
yeah, it could have been. But no, it was a great event, and, I was honored to be asked to be part of it, from James, and, he asked Homefront Sit Rep to be a part of it, and it's a great event, so
Yeah, well, I
definitely.
mean, great turnout. I
Yeah.
mean, unfortunately, the accident slash construction that was happening on 65 South there, just south of Shepherdsville, probably kept some people from coming in just because it was backed up forever. I mean, I had to reroute off of 64 down through 44 on your neck of the woods and come through the back way because the highway was shut down. So,
Yeah.
but no, still a great crowd that showed up. I mean, all the supporters for all the guys and gals that we're out there telling their life events, life stories through song. And yeah, it was a really, really good event. And then you had the Global War on Terrorism wall there as well. So yeah, it was a great, great weekend. Yeah, yeah. For me tomorrow, I've got VA annual appointment. All right,
Oh,
so
nice.
yeah, go check out all my blood works and make sure I'm heart's still beating, so I still get my benefits. And then right after that, I have my primary care an hour and a half in the other direction. So
Oh, dang.
few doctor's appointments tomorrow, but good
That
thing I
sounds like
spread them. I spread them out, so we're good. And
that
then I
sounds
got
like fun.
I got to run some errands for the wife. You know how that is. Thanksgiving's coming up, so
Oh, yeah. Well, so the wife has now decided we're cooking on Sunday, we're doing Thanksgiving here for her family at our house. So now I get the pleasure of deep frying a turkey, which I love cooking, so it's no big deal. But I get to deep fry turkey, which I haven't had a deep fried turkey in a few years, so I'm super excited about it. But it's the simple fact that she changed last minute. We were supposed to go out to a restaurant. Now we're having everybody here, and it's just like
mm.
I know what that means for me. It means, hey, when you're not working, you're cleaning this house, getting it ready because she works a lot. Her hours are longer than mine, so it is what it
Oh,
is.
I know. We had to change our plans too, so everybody's coming here.
Oh man, so you're in the same boat I'm in.
Oh, it gets better. It gets better. So, we get back the 24th of December from our little vacation that we're taking. Guess who's hosting Christmas?
Oh, you are. Oh, sounds like
Yeah.
fun.
So I get a half a day to prepare for everybody coming over.
You know,
Is what it is. Her family. I'll just deal with it. Roll. I
there
mean,
you
I've been
go.
doing it for 20 plus years, so I'm just roll with the punches now.
There you go. So I'm
Who we
super
got? Who
excited.
we got tonight? I mean, I know we've sitting here running our mouths for a little bit, and we start
Yeah,
a little
yeah.
bit
It's time
later.
to
But
get the
yeah,
So we got Mr. Garrett Exner. He is a Marine Corps veteran with deployments to Iraq, North Africa, East Africa, South Pacific. 14 years in the United States Marine Corps. You and him overlapped a little bit there. It sounds like
yep.
his service compared to when you were in. So you guys kind of, unfortunately, I was out before he joined, but so he transitioned from hands-on special operations, counterterrorism missions to strategic work, shaping how the United States confronts modern conflict and gray zone competition. He's also on the board for Veterans on Duty, which is one of the things that we're going to really talk about tonight. What they do, and Veterans on Duty. Their mission is to support a strong, prepared U.S. military. They believe veterans' voices should continue to be part of the national security and defense policy debate. According to them, our duty did not end when we leave the battlefield. And we talked about that numerous times here on this show, that we as veterans, we need to start coming together and creating a grassroots movement to make sure that we don't lose our benefits and that we get the things that what's going on, Rich and Monica, that we get things that I don't want to say that, get things that we earned, not things that are, just given to us as a handout, but things that we earned because we served our country, and we would gladly die for our country still to this day because our oath never ends.
Well, and
So
who better to help write policy for our warfighters than the warfighters too, right? And
agreed.
advocate on part of the warfighters, because it's hard for guys and gals that had never served to advocate and say what's best for the guys and girls in uniform.
Yeah.
But if you have guys and girls in uniform that are on your staff or as an advisor or whatever, you can turn to them and they can advocate on behalf of those who are currently serving. So it's
Yeah.
it's a good deal.
So Veterans on Duty is a 501c4 nonprofit. It means they are more focused on advocacy and political work versus a purely charitable organization. Like most 501c3s are just charitable organizations. So
Well,
they're
you can't do that advocacy piece. You can't do that
right,
political piece, right? You have to kind of stay
right.
neutral as that C3. So, as the C4, that is part of the C4 verbiage, right? Is you're
Yeah.
able to do that.
Yeah, definitely. So they run grassroots campaigns, produce digital content, and hold events to mobilize veterans and like-minded citizens. They engage on policy issues related to defense, national security, and veterans affairs. So they do a little bit of everything, it sounds like, and I'm super excited to bring Mr. Garrett up here and let him talk about himself and his time in the military and then what he's doing now, because that's just not the only thing he does. He's got a whole laundry list of things that he does. He's kind of busy like Gunny, always doing something. So without further ado, let's bring Mr. Garrett up to the stage. Let me welcome to this. Let's see, which one is it, Gunny? Gotta figure out which one it is. There we go. I got it now. Welcome to the show, Mr. Garrett. How are you,
Hey,
sir?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me on.
What It's our honor to have you on. So thank you for taking time away from your busy schedule and your wife and kids as well, and hanging out with Gunny and I for this hour. So do me a favor and introduce yourself to the world of Homefront Sit Rep, if you don't mind.
Big. You did a great job, Garrett Exner. 14 years in the Marine Corps. Born and raised in the Northeast in New England. Went to college down in Texas. Joined as soon as I got out of college in 2005, and served for the beginning portion of my time as an artillery guy. Then on my third deployment, made the transition over to MARSOC, came back from that deployment and said, this is where I got to go. I got to go into special operations, and served there till 2019. Ended up working in the SecDef's office for the last few years, my time in service. And my wife's career was up here in DC, and we said, let's just stay here. Let's get out. It's probably not the best financial decision to get out at 14 years. But it was the right decision for my family. I know I talk to a lot of vets now and say, that's one of the hardest things, kind of dealing with the deployments, the family, all that stuff. Deployments are tough, but really that time away is tougher. So we made a family decision. No more of those. We'll figure it out here in DC, and then got involved working in policy and politics a little bit. Worked for Senator Ted Cruz for a little while, and then came over to the Hudson Institute. Then I work at a nonprofit called the Public Interest Fellowship, and learned about veterans on duty. Had some friends over there, and said, what better way to kind of engage in the policy debates than to try to get veterans together, like-minded veterans together. Really, it's about fixing some of the things we saw going wrong around 2022 in the military and DOD and American politics, and then just getting a military that's focused. Like, once again, a military an America that wins, a military that's focused, and get our nation focused on building a strong national defense. So we're doing our best to do that. grow grassroots support, get veterans' voices heard, get veterans into Congress, to make some change. I think we're making progress right now. It's been a successful few years here since 2022.
Heck yeah. I've noticed a lot more veterans are getting into the political realm. Now, we don't talk politics normally here on this show, just because everybody has different opinions and stuff like that. So we try not to get into that. But when it comes to lobbying for veterans, veteran benefits, veterans, national security, all of that. That's something that we can talk about because it's something that's near and dear to all of us as veterans. Like I'm new to the VA system within the last couple years, and I'm still working my way through the rating process, which is a headache. I wish there was something that there was. I wish there was a way for veterans who have been out for a while, for it to be a little bit more streamlined than what it is now, because right now you have to jump through all these hoops. And like I don't have medical records because when I was in, we were told don't go to VAS, don't report nothing. So I never did. I never reported anything. And now it's trying to get buddy letters, nexus letters, and stuff of that nature, just so I can prove that this is how I was and this is how I am now. So it's I just wish it was more streamlined, and that's something that maybe Veterans on Duty does. I know other organizations like MOA and what's the other one that we had, Gunny, that kind of does the same thing as Veterans on Duty. I can't remember. We've had so many, but is that something that you guys focus on too as well?
Absolutely. We just had Secretary Collins on our show Beyond the Call, which is where we interview different veterans who are continuing to serve in DC. And Secretary Collins was on, kind of highlighting the progress they've made just in the last year, trying to fix some of those things. Because in your case, the guys that are coming out now, guys and gals that are coming out now, they're getting screened. We fixed some of that stuff. So the Department of War is screening folks as they exit for everything under the sun. The problem is for, I think, guys like us who got out before these changes were made, it's almost like we fell through the cracks. I had to do the same thing. It took me almost 18 months of going to appointments. I'm driving all the way. None of it made sense to me either when I was going through it, because I had appointments in Baltimore, and there's tons of VA facilities here in the National Capital Region, right here in Northern Virginia and DC. And I'm wondering, like, why am I driving to Baltimore to go to this doctor to get seen? And the VA was great in compensating you financially for stuff. But I think a lot of veterans, it's not just about money. It's about, like, can I see the doctor for the thing that's wrong? And
Right.
A lot of these changes they're slow. I mean, bureaucracy is tough to get through, but Secretary Collins is doing a lot of great work, I think, over there.
So my primary care, I'm not a big fan of my primary care doctor. And the reason being is because when I went in there originally and I gave her the whole laundry list of things that were wrong with me, or that's wrong with me. And she focused, like, after doing blood work and stuff like that, she focused on my diabetes and my cholesterol, and that's all she's focused on. I'm like, well, I want to focus on the other stuff as well. She goes, well, we only have 15 minutes. And I'm like, what do you mean you only have 15 minutes? And then she's like, well, we can pick this or this, but we can't worry about the rest of it. And I'm like, and this has been going on for 2 years now, and I still haven't been seen for the TBI, the possible TBI from where I fell at the back of the Humvee in Greece, and other things that are going on with me. And I'm like, when can I see somebody to get all this taken care of? Because that's what's holding up the process, because I'm at 60%. That's what's holding me up from getting to 100%. And it's just like, how do you get your primary care that says, well, we have 15-minute blocks to see you as a veteran, and then we have to go to the next veteran after that? How do we fix that where we can go see our primary care, and if we need to be there for 30 minutes to 45 minutes, we're there that long, and they're not rushing us out. So that's
some of the frustration that I think a lot of us feel as we're going through that process is, you see guys and gals who are at 100%, who, they seem to have gotten it so quickly. One of my best friends, godfather to my daughter, blown up in Afghanistan, had some pretty horrific injuries, long recovery that he went through. And he was at 40% for a very long time. I mean, this guy broke his back, lost his spleen, had irreparable damage to his leg, almost lost his leg, tons of scar tissue down the other side of his body. And he's at 40%. I mean, the math just didn't add up. So his first review to change that went up to 60, and he was like, this is insane. He was knocked completely unconscious by the blast, losing an organ, losing his spleen, should have already put him over 50%, and he's arguing to get past 60. And as he's sitting in the waiting room, the guy next to him had served less than a year, had left after boot camp, and was at 100%. And he's like, I don't understand why I'm fighting for this when I feel like some people are getting it so easy. Like, how do we make, and it's nothing against that guy. He may have deserved his 100%, but surely if you've gotten wounded, like, you need to kind of get front of line privileges in my eyes. Like, hey, if you had some kind of deployment injury, you need to make sure that this person's taken care of.
Yeah.
In a higher priority. I think, I'll tell you, my view is that Secretary Collins 100% gets that. The guys I know over the VA, they're trying to change it right now.
Yeah, I think so. I became it used to be strength and conditioning. Now it's sports performance. So I did a sports performance thing and it got certified. And I'm looking at it, and when I first came in, when Willis and I came in, we were doing sit-ups, right? It wasn't the crunch. Yeah. But you still get your head back, your hands back here, and you're pulling on your neck, right? So that constant pulling during the PFT, CFT, all that crap, right? That is compressing disc, that's pinching nerves, that's the potential to bulge a disc, right? Or as infantry guys, we'll just say a 40-pound pack is the average. We know it's usually above that. But that is compressing your spine. That's compressing your hips, your knees, your ankles. I personally believe that every single MOS or job skill, whatever, if you served in that job skill for a period of time, these are automatic, just because we know for a fact that this stuff is doing the damage to your body, right? Running, as much as we run, damages the body. Mm-hmm. So your buddy that got injured, I was blown up twice in Iraq in 2005. I didn't get medically retired until 2011. I left the Marine Corps, and at that time it was the pilot program. They had just started it, so I got my VA rating and the Navy Marine Corps rating at the same time. Looking at my files, the Navy and the Marine Corps only rated me from my left knee down. There was no TBI. There was no post-traumatic stress. There was no other residual stuff resulting from the blast. And it's like, wow. And then the VA, I was at 70%. Mm-hmm. I want to say it was 2 years ago, maybe 3 at the most. I finally got to 100%, only because the PACT Act came out and I filed for my toxic exposure. And through everything that I went through in Iraq and Haiti, both tours to Haiti, they're like, yep, you got this. Here, you're 100% now. And I'm like, why did it take so long?
And it was so easy, right? So at the end, it became so easy, like you just had to get to the right person.
Yeah, and that's what it is.
Frustrating issue for a lot of veterans to get out.
Yeah,
and if you don't know it, I have one of the things that I'm very vocal about right now is Vietnam era veterans, because you're asking these guys and gals to get on a lot of this on the VA now. You're doing it online. You're filling out forms online. They're mailing you stuff. You're asking guys and gals who are much older, not going to be as savvy with technology, to do this stuff online, particularly once there's a benefit that regularly falls through the crack, which is end of life care, which is a benefit that all veterans rate, right? Yeah. Regardless of where you serve, when you serve, you rate that end of life care. It's a small stipend to help out if you have to go into kind of an end of life care situation, right? You're asking the family members of these people who are also old, a lot of times it's spouses, to fill out this paperwork online, 70 and 80-year-old ladies trying to fill it out for their husbands while their husband's dying online and they're getting kickback from the system. That's unacceptable. And unfortunately, what's happened is you've had kind of a cottage industry of organizations stand up and say, we can do the online program for you. Just give us a cut. And to me, that's not good either. But if the VA was working, you don't need that. You wouldn't need a private sector to stand up and try to fill the gap if things were all working the way they should be.
Yeah, I would agree with you because there's something in the news recently. There's an organization, a veteran that was doing helping veterans get their rating. Now they were just a nonprofit organization. They never took money, they never took money from back pay or anything like that. They strictly worked on donations. That's how they worked. Well, somebody reported them. And now this group, CMP, that they've helped numerous veterans go from 0% to whatever percentage and get rated, and very successful at doing what they were doing. And it's only because they are veterans and they knew how to navigate the system. So they were helping all these veterans get their rating. Well, somebody didn't like it, and now they're saying that they stole money from veterans, and their 990 shows that they never took money other than donations, and it was small donations, $100 here, $200 here, and it's just like, why go after somebody who's helping somebody for free? All they take is donations, and you got organizations. There goes my camera deeds. And you got organizations out there that says, all right, especially lawyers. Lawyers are really bad. They're like, well, we'll take 40% of your back pay or 33% of your back pay, whatever it is. And then you got some organizations was like, well, we'll take $7,500 or we'll take whatever out of your back pay. Yes, it's free, and working the system is hard. And if you don't have the right person helping you along the way, you're going to get frustrated. You're going to give up. And that's what's really irritating about the VA at the present moment in time. As a younger generation veteran, because I'm kind of computer savvy, like I know how to get on the internet and I know how to search for things and stuff like that and do that. But if I was an older, Vietnam era, Korea, whatever, like you said, they don't know how to do that.
Well, and then just trying to find some of the forms.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
I've been involved with the VA system since I got out in 11, and even now, trying to find the forms or the right person to contact is still kind of difficult. And they've changed the system just recently from the My Healthy Vet. Now it's you have to use the VA app through everything, and still trying to navigate that. There's some things that need to be changed for sure. Yes, the VA system for sure overall needs to be changed. I mean, I'm on my 6th or 7th different primary care provider because all these doctors are going there to retire, right? That's their end of career. That's not young doctors that are going there to, care for the veterans. It's the older guys, gals that are coming there to retire. And, sometimes you feel that when you're in the appointment and that you feel like they're not listening, right? And it's like they're dismissing a lot of things that you're saying. And here's a pill. Here's a pill. Oh, we have a pill for that. We have a pill for that. And it's like, I don't want to be taking pills the rest of my life. Yeah. There's going to be other things we can do here. And,
that was the thing with me that I found shocking was the answer, the response of like, well, we'll give you the back pay. We'll give you back pay. We'll give you this much money. It was like, money's great. I'm not going to say no to it, but I really would like to just go to the chiropractor. Can I do that?
Right.
How was the process for me to just go see the doctor? The money, if you want to pay me, great, but I'd really just like to fix the things that I think are wrong right now that I knew were wrong. There's when I was MARSOC had this phenomenal facility. You had all these doctors, strength and conditioning coaches, Perez program that we had to like keep you going. You had something wrong. They were going to focus in on it, bring in a team and get you back out there. In fact, on one deployment, I came home for 2 weeks to get some treatment and went right back out on the deployment. That wouldn't have happened to any other unit. But then what was most shocking is kind of the transition out of that. All of that care just fell away immediately. Yeah. And it's pulling teeth trying to get it back. It's difficult. But it takes it takes, just like now, this conversation takes veterans who have been through it to go in there and change some things. That's probably the best part I like about the VA right now is everybody I've met from the VA under Collins is other veterans. Don Bergen over there, a good friend of mine, another Marine, just like gets it. So a lot of the folks over there, you call them, you talk to them about stuff, and we're just trying to, here on Veterans on Duty, we're just trying to raise attention to issues that we're seeing and getting the voices of veterans out there to the right people. It's easy to be here in DC and connect with these folks, but out in Kentucky, it's hard to, you might be able to call your congressman, a legislator that's over there, senator, but now you're asking that staff of that senator or congressman to go over the VA for you, talk to the VA on your behalf. That's a longer process, right?
Yeah,
it is.
Connect right directly here, then we can help out.
Yeah, so I actually, my second time, my first time I went to do a rating increase, it was taking forever. It was like 18 months, almost 2 years. And finally I had enough of it. And I got Senator McConnell's office involved. Well, he had a staffer at his office in Louisville that once a week would go over to the VA, like, all right, where's Mr. Deed's package? Why has it not moved? Why is it not this? And again, so now they're taking time out of their schedule to do what they have to do for him, back here in Kentucky to go look at my case. Right. And I greatly appreciate it. I did get a small increase, after he got involved. But again, I retired with 30 plus surgeries. Right. And then I've had an additional, 10 to 15 since. And it's all residual from getting blown up. And why am I having to fight to get 100? And why am I having members them involved?
Senators and representatives, they will fight for. That's been my experience. If you can get in touch with them, they will go fight, and they will go, flip desks over to try to figure things out. But it shouldn't take that, right? I know that the app is trying to fix some things, and they're trying to change the Mission Act, change stuff, PACT Act made stuff a little bit better. But there's still a lot of work to do, and most of it, in my opinion, is easy fixes, right? If you have a doctor that you like, you should be able to just keep that doctor. That's like the easiest thing, especially if you're in a rural area and your VA facility is a ways away. We shouldn't be making veterans drive hours and hours for care and then say, oh, don't worry, we're going to pay you for your time and pay you for the gas that you spent and pay you for the miles in your car. The money, like I said, the money is one thing, but why not just let them go to the doctor that they're seeing, and then you send that money to the doctor, and they don't have to drive several hours to go get care.
So for like me, I work a full-time job. I work 40 hours. For me to go to the VA, I have to take off work that day, drive 40 minutes to the VA hospital, because that's where a lot of my appointments are, at the main VA hospital in Louisville. And then the rest of my day shop, because I'm sitting at the VA hospital for 2 or 3 hours, and then I get to come home. Well, I missed out on 8 hours of work at $30 on the hour, and so the VA is only giving me $20 in gas reimbursement just to drive to the VA and back. And it's just like it don't make sense. And so this year, I told the wife, I said, well, I'm going to use my PTO time. So I can, go to the VA and do these appointments, because I had a total knee replacement back in October. So after that, I had to go to the physical therapy 3 days a week. So I had to take the whole day off work to go to physical therapy, because my work would not let me go back once I did go back to work. And they're like, well, once you leave work, you can't come back. So a lot of the appointments were at 9 o'clock in the morning. So I start at 7. Have to leave at 9, and then got to take personal time for the rest of the day. It's just, so I burned up all my personal time at the beginning of the year because of physical therapy, plus all my other doctor's appointments. And I'm like, it's not that I knew that I needed to go, but I just wish there was some kind of, like they wouldn't let me do community care or for my physical therapy, because they said you have to do physical therapy in the hospital. And I'm like, well, that don't make no sense, because my therapy is community care. Why can't I do physical therapy outside?
Mhm.
And they're like, well, the director says you have to do it here in the hospital.
Because
And
you're
I'm
probably
like,
within a certain distance. I think there's like a radius around where that physical therapy is offered. And if you're within the radius, it might be 40 miles. I don't know the exact thing, but
yeah, I mean,
they're probably saying, no, you're within this radius, so you can drive. That makes you're making lives much more difficult. I think, unfortunately, this stuff is upstream from other problems we had with recruiting, and other issues that affect the military. If young men and young women who are in high school are hearing podcasts like this, or they're hearing, their uncles, fathers, moms, whoever complain about their VA treatment and saying like, I can't get surgeries for things that happened to me. Why would they want to join? Like, what's the incentive to join if you're not going to be taken care of? You're
yeah,
going to sacrifice your body, and then the care is not going to be there. I think we saw a huge dip in recruitment for that and other issues, but I think you need good leadership top down at the VA. You need it at Department of War. You need it from the president on down to say like, hey, we care about you guys.
Yeah.
Or else people aren't going to join. They're not
Well,
going to
and
join
then
if they're
you had the
hearing
hearings
this.
too, right? About the VA.
Yeah.
And they signed on the dotted line, and that we said we'd take care of them.
Mm-hmm.
And then you had so many people. Well, what for how long? Really? For how long? I'm going to have
yeah,
these issues the rest of my life, and they're just going to get worse from my time in the military. How long? The rest of my life. That's how long. That's,
yeah,
and
Mhm.
my wife was married to me before I got blown up, and she's been with me through all 46 surgeries that I've had. So you're going to take care of her too after I'm gone. That's how long.
Mhm.
It was disheartening to hear people argue why us veterans, should not be paid, and how much money's going out to us. Well, you know what? Maybe after you leave office, you don't get paid. You
I
don't
agree.
get to have the benefits that you have when you leave office. How's that?
Yeah. One of the things we focus on here in VOD is just this mindset that's kind of grown out of, you hear it all the time, people saying everything we did was a waste of time. We expended all this energy. It's too expensive, too costly. The deal is we send our military members out there. They do the work of the nation, protect the nation from harm, standing on the front lines, edges of the empire, whatever you want to call it. We're doing it. And the contract is that you take care of us on the back end. It's costly. I think it's worth it, right? It provides for a great way of life in America, that we get to enjoy our liberties and our freedoms here on the backs of a small group of people, less than 1% that are serving in the military. We're not asking you to take care of everybody, just the veterans, right? But this is actually a good contract. It's worked for a while.
Yeah.
There needs to be improvements to it for sure. But if you start to break on any of this stuff, if you start to not take care of veterans and then say, oh, well, it's all too expensive, we just need to focus at home, I think we get unraveled as a country, right? You see it in recruitment, you see it in unfortunately in politicians that are less inclined to take care of veterans, or say things like, it was all a waste of time. I don't consider any of my time to be wasted. I had the best time of my life when I served. I met my wife. My buddy used to joke around and say, when you make captain, the Marine Corps is going to issue you a wife. And then I made captain. I met my wife, who's also a Marine. I think both of us loved our time in the Marine Corps. We went to Marine Corps birthday ball a week or two ago, and I get like, there's like an emotion. Like, I'm not an emotional guy, but you can feel it just from there. I'm so glad that I served, and I'm like, don't break that contract. Don't make me regret any of it because you're not doing the right things to take care of veterans.
Yeah. I mean, if I had to do it all over again, and Gunny and I, we've talked about this numerous times. If I could go back to that 17-year-old me, would I do it all over again? I would 100% do it all over again.
Absolutely.
For one, I've met some lifelong brothers, Gunny being one of those guys that will be lifelong brothers to the day I die. And the things that I did see made me into the man that I am today. And like I tell my nephew, he's in the army right now. He just got back from being deployed in Kuwait. I tell him all the time, look, enjoy your time while you're in. But if you get hurt, make sure you report that stuff and make sure everything's documented. That way, when you do get out, you're already set, whether it's 60%, 100%, whatever. And I told him, I said, don't lie. Don't over exaggerate your symptoms. And the reason I'm saying tell him that is because I recently had to testify in court, in federal court, against a veteran who was 70% rated, and then he got 30% bump on the IU program, but he lied to get that 30% bump, which makes a black eye for all of us veterans out here that's trying to do it the right way. It gives us a black eye, and VA starts looking at, oh, well, are you scamming? Are you scamming? And granted, civilians are like, well, there's veterans that are lying about their service. So why is not all of them are lying? So it definitely gives us a black eye. So how do we stop veterans for over exaggerating their symptoms and cheating the system? Basically, is how do we stop that?
I think one of the biggest things, the issues that we're seeing right now surrounds PTS. There's when you get out or when you go through your rating, a lot of doctors are trying to get you to 100, and the easiest way for them to do is just say, "Hey, do you have any post-traumatic stress? Do you have any? Is anything going on? You have trouble sleeping?" And they offer it up to you. I remember before my first deployment to Iraq. This is December 2006. Lieutenant Colonel Dave Grossman, who wrote some great books on combat and on killing, if you've ever read them, he came and gave a big brief. This is 1st Battalion, 3rd Marines. I was an artillery forward observer with them. And he came and gave a talk and said, when you get back, do me one favor and don't play the victim, right? People should look at veterans as, stoic. They're like the epitome of service to the nation. They did something honorable. They're wearing their uniform proudly, or they're standing up for the flag afterwards, and they're a representation of everything that's good about the United States of America. Don't be the victim. Don't be the one with your hand out asking for more than what you're owed. The government's going to give you a lot. They're going to give you care. It's tough to get. They're going to eventually you will find it. You'll get it, and hopefully we'll make that an easier process. They're going to pay for you to go to college, and I like to say they paid me a great salary when I was in. I met my wife. I had 2 wonderful kids. I got to see the whole world. It made me into the man I am today. I can't thank the United States of America enough for what I got out of my service. So I don't need all this other stuff. I wish more veterans would get that message instead of just saying, check the box and say you have PTS and get the 100%. We need to get back to don't be a victim, right? You did something honorable, continue that honorable service to the country.
Yeah. So like right now I'm 60%, 50% is PTS, and 10% for tetanitis. And somebody's like, well, you with your symptoms that you have, you should be at least 70% on your PTS. And I'm like, I've done 2 CMP exams. I went from 40%, or actually 30% to 50%. I was like, that's what the raters say that I deserve. That's what I'm going to stick with. So, and then now, of course, I'm focusing on my knees, my ankles, my back, my hip, all of that stuff. I'm 47. I've already had 1 total knee replacement. I do have to have the other knee total replaced as well. When I went and seen the ortho doctor at the VA hospital, he's like, you're awful young. We shouldn't be doing a total knee replacement on you. And I'm like, I understand that. I said, and of course, I had seen a civilian doctor before I went to the VA for it, and they already were talking about doing a partial knee replacement. He goes, no, you need a total knee replacement. So he's like, well, we can do this, we can do this. And I'm like, doc, that's just putting a Band-Aid on an open wound. I said, it's not really going to do anything. He said, so what do you want to do? And I was like, well, if it was up to me, I'd go ahead and do the total knee replacement. He said, okay, let's do it. Now he did try to give me a little pushback at first, but he understood where I was coming from. I was like, "Look, I've already exhausted all means. I have pain every day in my knees," and he finally is like, "All right." He gave in and he did the right one. It's been a little over a year. We're almost to the point where I can get my left one done. Um, and it's just you have to be your own advocate. Okay, so
Mhm.
when you go to the VA, they're going to be like, "Well, you need this pill, this pill, this pill, this pill, this pill." If you don't want to take pills, you have to be forceful but tactful. That way you don't get in trouble because you're too forceful. If you don't want to take pills for high blood pressure, whatever, tell them no, you don't want to take pills. There are organic methods out there to help lower blood pressure and stuff. I know veterans that were on 10 different pills and now they're taking 0 pills because they're doing everything organically. Not saying the Mary Jane, but they're doing, other organic herbs
Mhm.
to help lower cholesterol, help do the things that they need to do. So if you don't want to take the pills, there are alternatives out there, but you have to be your own advocate. You got to be forceful but tactful when you're talking with your doctors and stuff of that nature. Um, so let's talk a little bit more about VOD. Um, I know we touched a lot on VOD. Um, so it was founded in let's see,
2022.
founded in 2022. You guys, you helped. It says here something about what was Dan Crenshaw. Y'all help with getting him in the office.
We're helping them out right now.
Okay.
We think it's important to keep veterans' voices heard, right? So more often than not, if there's a veteran that's doing work that's advocating for veterans, we're going to try to support that person and highlight the policy wins that they're having. Dan Crenshaw has done a lot of work for veterans. I think that gets glossed over, and a lot of people focus on kind of political anger towards that guy.
Yeah.
I saw a post just yesterday on X. Somebody was criticizing his service, calling him a war hawk because he served. And I think you can debate whether or not the United States should be engaged in supporting different countries in the wars that they're in, but you can't denigrate somebody's service, right? The idea that Representative Crenshaw served, was wounded, he served honorably, and now he's carrying his voice forward. That's a good thing. I want more veterans that have served, GWAT veterans in particular, in Congress. I think that's what VOD wants. And we're going to always lean on the side of supporting the veterans that are serving that are advocating for veterans going forward. They're advocating for a stronger America. Dan Crenshaw does that. I've seen nothing but that from him in his service. I think there's a whole ecosystem of people that are kind of going after, representatives like Crenshaw, but I like him. There's a number of others that we like that are doing
I
good
saw
things.
something from Marcus. He's doing some pretty good stuff up there with some of the bills they're trying to pass for
Yeah.
veterans and veteran care. And um,
It's unfortunate that politics is the way it is right now in the United States of America, but I think more veterans is actually probably part of the cure. Like more veterans serving is a good thing for the United States of America.
Yeah, I would agree. I know we've talked about this with numerous people. Like I've talked with a lady named Kimberly Moyers out of Texas. She works with uh, Marcus out there, and other. We need the grassroots. We need to start at the local level, get veterans in our local government, and then
Absolutely.
work our way up to our state level, and then federal level after that. But I agree. I think we need more veterans in office. I think that who knows better how to protect our country than the people that have already served to
and
protect our
it's
country.
not Marcus, it's Morgan. I
Or
missed
Morgan.
It's
Sorry,
Morgan.
Yeah.
Marcus is his brother. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I definitely agree that we need more veterans in the political realm. Um, how?
Or even as lobbyists, up
Yeah.
there trying to
Yeah.
help
Yeah.
with the issues like everybody over at Veterans on Duty is doing.
Yeah. So how could a veteran from Kentucky or Tennessee, wherever they at, be part of Veterans on Duty?
So you can, hopefully they'll follow us on X, Facebook, whatever social media they prefer. We're on all of them. YouTube, all this stuff. We're putting out regular content on YouTube and on X for Beyond the Call, which is our interviews with veterans who continue to serve here. Sign up. They should definitely go to our website, sign up for our email, and then they can engage. We're sending out surveys. We're trying to do polling to say, hey, what do veterans care about most? What do you want to do? And we're taking that directly to the members here to say, hey, this is where veterans are on this issue. This is what they want you to support policy-wise. Get in the fight, stay in the fight, win the fight on behalf of veterans. So the more that you engage with us, the more content we're going to give to you guys, not just in terms of posts on X or something like that, but actual policy recommendations, updates on what's going on in the world, updates what's going on here in DC, so that they can engage with the content and shoot us notes and give us recommendations for what they think we should be engaging on.
Awesome. Now, do you guys partner with like MOA when they go to DC to advocate for veterans up there?
We have not kind of partnered with the the big five organizations that are advocating and do the kind of the big work for the VA. If you think like American Legion, VFW, MOA, all those organizations, we have not. And that's probably, it's intentional. There's a lot. Some people love their organization. They love the American Legion. They love VFW. Some people absolutely hate those organizations. And there's a lot of people online that are very popular that will go after those organizations, say, hey, you're not helping veterans. Yeah. I've had more positive experiences than negative with all those organizations. I like them. But I think VOD, we're trying to advocate on specific policy issues in different areas. And we don't want to get attached to any of these kind of large, massive veterans organizations.
I mean, that makes sense. I mean, you're trying to forge your own path, and advocate for the things that from veterans that have reached out and say, hey, this is something that is very important. I think that's very admirable when you're wanting to do that. One of our good friends, Don Bramer, who runs the Bramer group there in DC, he's a Navy veteran. He's also a lobbyist up DC as well. And I talked to him, quite a few times throughout the year just to see how things are going and things that he's working on and stuff like that. So anybody who's out helping veterans, especially helping make the VA better, helping make things easier for our brothers and sisters out there to make sure they're taken care of and that their family's taken care of, gets an A+ in my book any day of the week. So
yeah, I mean, there's a lot of fights going on. I think unfortunately we're in a tenuous period. I think things are more dangerous in this world than they have been in a long time. I mean, you had massive wars going on in different continents of the world, and you kind of put that at the same time as the sentiment in America it's one of almost like exhaustion. Like, how much engagement are we going to have to do? VOD is very focused on making sure that Americans know the world is still a very dangerous place. We need a strong military. If we cede ground to China, they're ready to take territory. They're ready to take the reins of being the dominant power, and we're going to do our best to make sure that we're preserving and protecting the way of life, the American way of life going forward. It's a tough time right now. Overall, things aren't looking too bright on the world stage right now.
Yeah, the world is.
Well, I think social media, right? People are more aware of it now than they were back in 2005, when you joined, or even 2010, 2011, when I retired. It seems like everything is out there now. You have all this AI stuff, and you don't know what's real, what's not real, and it seems like every single person out there has a voice right now, right? Whether you're on active duty or a veteran, there's so many different guys and gals that have their own show that, talk about, veteran issues or what's what, or, but, you see all this stuff with, the drug running and all this. Well, that stuff's been going on forever, right? The
Yeah.
Coast Guard, when they fell under transportation, that was one of their main efforts, was deterring drugs coming into the nation. But no one saw that because it wasn't on social media. It wasn't in the news every day. And now everything's prevalent. It's in your face. And whether it's right or wrong, how it's being taken care of, it's still right there in front of your face. And it's putting in, everybody gets to put their own opinion on it now instead of actually reporting what is actually happening.
Yeah.
In this sentiment is this idea of people getting anxious about everything that's going on in the country and the world. It's happened before. There's a great article by a scholar over at the Hudson Institute, talking about, I think it's called the 1939 Project. Basically, she's saying that we had this rising tide in the 1930s in America, where we said, like, hey, there's too much that we're going on. We need to shrink everything down. We don't have enough money to pay for veterans. We need to get rid of some of this stuff. And actually, that's when things got the worst in the world. So American leadership really does matter. Veterans having a say in this stuff. We know the cost. We know how hard it is to have to go somewhere and fix things after the fact. And it's much better if America is leading on the world stage and making sure that things don't kind of fall apart. I'd like to give my kids, I'm sure you guys feel the same way, I'd like to give my kids, the next generation, the America that I had growing up.
Yeah.
I had a great time in this country. I'm still having a great time. I definitely want to pass that on to my kids. I don't want this whole thing that we got going here to fall apart.
I heard something the other day. I was at my daughter's Veterans Day celebration at her school. She's a senior this year, and one of the veterans was doing a speech, and he said something that really resonated with me. And he was looking out at not the veterans, but the children in the bleachers, right? He goes, "You guys are our next generation." And what was told to me when I was growing up is make the next generation better than your generation. And that just resonated so much with me because when I was growing up, granted, I grew up in rural Kentucky, and it was a single mom, 4 kids, and we struggled. But as a young child, I didn't really know I was struggling. Like, my mom made sure that we had everything that we needed, everything that we could possibly need. Now, granted, I didn't get everything I wanted, but I got everything I needed, and I didn't have to struggle. And we always had food on the table, had a roof over our head, all of that. My generation, we didn't have to worry about, like Gunny said, all the social media, everybody out there, because cyberbullying is a big thing right now. But we as our generation need to leave a lasting legacy for our younger generation to be better than our generation. So it just resonated really well with me.
Yeah, I think it's exactly right. Is that, unfortunately, I think things aren't being transferred down to our kids the way that they should be. I think they're getting something totally different. My wife and I talk about all the time of just the difference in how we grew up. Right? Drugs was not. I mean, there were drugs in the United States of America when I was a kid, of course. But I don't think I ever heard of fentanyl or people overdosing in high schools when I was a young kid. There are serious problems now that we've allowed to creep in. I don't think we have a huge suicide problem in the veteran community, but there's also just a suicide problem in America, particularly with young kids.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of this has to do with just changing ways of the country. Social media is a huge problem in this. There's a lot of good on social media. There's also a lot of bad. And I just want to make sure that the next generation is protected. The same, like I said, that American way of life that we had growing up. You don't need to be the richest family on the block to have a great life in America. At least that's not how I ever saw it, in the 80s and
Right.
90s. I had a great time growing up with a single mom. It was, I don't remember kind of bad times. It wasn't all easy. Being able to jump on my bike and ride several miles down the road or into my town,
and not have to worry about it.
Yeah, and just go to. We would go. My friends and I would ride several miles to the gas station, buy
Yeah.
snacks, candy, whatever, ride all the way back, and that was our day. And it was like an adventure. I don't think I would let my kids ride several miles away from my house now without
No.
knowing where they were going or anything like that. So it has changed, and unfortunately, it's going to be a fight to kind of maintain what we had to pass it on to the next generation.
Yeah,
sure.
definitely. Now, I still raise my kids with the values that I was raised with. Now, I did break some generational curses when I was growing up, um, and I didn't pass that to my kids, but I still raised them. You know, if they go, if they're out and about and they see a Vietnam veteran or a veteran, first thing they say to that Vietnam vet is "Welcome home," and then they shake their hand and say "Thank you for your service." Or if they see just a regular veteran, they're going to say, "Hey, thank you for your service." And then they say, "Yes, sir," "No, sir," "Yes, ma'am," "No, sir," and all of that. And I get compliments on my kids all the time, and they're like, "Your kids are so sweet," which is a testament to the wife and I because we still passed our values down to them. And I know Gunny's the same way with his boys. His boys are phenomenal as well. And
You think that's a military trait? Because that quality, particularly the sir and ma'am, looking people in the eyes, shaking hands. All my veteran friends with their kids, I see it. I see it
Yeah.
less outside.
Yeah,
veteran
for
community.
sure.
Yeah, I think it is, but I was raised that way too. Like my grandmother and my grandfather were very traditional. It was yes sir, no sir, yes ma'am, and I always did that when I was at their house. It was something that I was raised around. Even with my aunts and uncles, it was always yes sir, no sir, and all of that. And then military does, it did re-implement that there. So I think it's a mixture of both. But yeah, I definitely think it is very rampant within the veteran community where kids are yes sir, no sir, yes ma'am, and all of that. So
Yeah,
what's up,
we have
Ryan? How
people
are
that
you,
will
sir?
tell my wife, how polite and courteous and everything that the boys are, and her response is, "Have you met their dad?" You know, it's- I mean, the gunny does come out every now and then in the house,
Uh-huh.
um, but not too often. But I think it is. I think everything that we went through, recruit training or OCS, TBS, and all those things that were instilled in us, right? The customs, the courtesies, the politeness, everything. It does transfer over even after you get out, right? That's something that is not easy to leave your body.
I
And
sometimes think about this where I'm like, how did the Marine Corps, like beating me down for years, make me love the country more?
yeah,
I don't know how
Yeah,
that exactly translated in my mind of like the Marine, because when you're in the Marine Corps, you're like, this, I hate this place. Why is it doing it? Why does it keep me treating me this way? But then there's a part of you just completely falls in love with it.
yeah,
You never want to leave it. And when you do, you end up thinking about it all the time. Um,
well, it's not the Marine Corps, it's the people, right?
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
That's what makes you fall in love with it. That's
The
what makes you
brotherhood, yeah,
miss it. It's
yeah.
not the suck, right? It's not being out there on the friggin' range, the Hathcock Range, when it's raining, beating you down, and the puddles are jumping up at you as you're trying to put a round down range. It's none of that. It's not being ate up by the chiggers and the sand fleas and the fire ants. It's the people that you're doing it with.
yeah,
And more times than not, it's those guys and gals that you miss. It's that camaraderie. It's that brotherhood, sisterhood that you're missing, not the actual, branch of service. But the Marine Corps does it better than anybody else, right? Because we
Absolutely.
do hold ourselves with that rich history and tradition, where the other branches, it's specific units that hold that history and tradition, not the whole branch.
I will say there's a time I remember this till the day I die. We were just doing a training exercise off Tybee Island, um, Georgia, and or South Carolina, right on the Georgia South Carolina border there. And we were going out on ribs, and then we would jump into the water and swim ashore. And the Tybee Island police were going to try to catch us as we were coming ashore. We were going to try to get past them, get into the town. Just a training exercise down there. This was like early March. That water in the Atlantic was freezing cold.
freezing.
Yeah.
We're in wetsuits, and it was just so rough out there. And we're getting slammed around in this little rubber boat, and we were laughing so hard. And I remember we had rubber rifles, and this kid Sergeant Jake Miller, bent his rifle because the boat was slamming around. And he like landed on with his butt and it bent his rifle, and we lost. And we're laughing so hard. And I remember thinking to myself, like the amount of guys that are going through this right now that are out here in this freezing cold, rainy water out in the Atlantic Ocean, about to swim 1,000 miles or 1,000 meters ashore, is like few and far between, right? It might be a couple dozen that are doing this right now in time in the country. And it was just like a feeling of pride I had of like, how lucky am I to be here with these guys?
Yeah.
This is miserable, but I'm so grateful that I get to have this experience with these guys. And I'm talking about this is, for a number of years later, and I'm still talking about it, and I'll remember it forever and still smile and think about it. It's like,
yeah,
how great it was to be in that situation. It was a miserable situation, but it was,
and those are the times you remember the most.
yeah,
Right. I mean, I'll tell you, Fitz is no longer with us. He's succumbed to his demons, but we were in Bridgeport doing cold weather operations. And this was 98 or 99. I can't remember which
the
year
first
it
one
was. It was the first one when we had
98,
like 6 feet of snow. But his binder kept coming off, and he was a saw gunner. And finally, he just gets to the point. He's like, "Oh, F it!" And he takes the saw and just slams it into the ground. And he's fixing his cleat. And I'm like, "Bro, where's your weapon?" We ended up digging down 4 feet to get his saw, and when we brought it up, it was nothing but a big block of ice. And up until even a week or so before he passed, we were still talking about that. It's those times that you come closer together with your brothers that you're out there in the suck with. That one funny thing that happened while you were in the suck is what you remember the most.
Yeah. Those dog and pony shows, man. I don't know how many Gunny and I participated in, but we did some with the recon guys at one time, and I forget what we were doing. We were on the beach and they were coming in, and something got
We were the
jacked up.
OP4 for them.
Yeah, and something got jacked up, and it was just so friggin' funny that it was just.
LCAX hit the wrong part of the beach. They didn't even land anywhere near the dignitaries. I mean, it was fun. It was good.
Yeah.
We got so far off track. I mean, we were already in over an hour already.
Yeah, no, we're good. So, all right, we do have to probably wrap it up here shortly, but is there anything that we haven't hit on that you did want to hit on for the show?
No, I mean, the biggest thing for us is, for any of your listeners, go to veteransonduty.org, follow us on X or LinkedIn or YouTube, and then, sign up for that email and engage with us so that we can say, hey, when we go to members of Congress on your behalf, or, if we're going to put out an ad on a certain policy issue and say, hey, this is where we think the government needs to be on this issue. We get to say, this is how many thousands of veterans, tens of thousands of veterans are signed up for Veterans on Duty. This is how many followers are in agreement on this policy, so that we can move that thing forward as fast as possible. That's really the biggest call here.
Awesome.
Sign up, join in, and let's continue the fight.
So on Facebook, I do know this for Facebook. You can go Veterans on Duty on Facebook. Click the 3 little dots after you follow them. Click the 3 little dots and then go down and invite your friends to follow as well.
Absolutely. You're a better salesman than me. I should have.
So I'm going to do that. So once we get off the live, because I got the phone here on the live right now, I'm going to go in, click the 3 dots. I'm sure Gunny's going to do the same thing. I think I have over 1,800 followers. So I'm gonna send it out to all 1,800 and be like, hey, let's follow these guys. And if you're on YouTube, watching on YouTube, make sure you go follow Veterans on Duty there as well, or any platform that you're on. Mr. Garrett, I do want to thank you for coming on and hanging out with Gunny and I for this hour. I know Gunny and I ran our sucks a little longer this at the beginning of the show, but thank you for coming on and hanging out and taking time away from you and your family.
No, this is good. We're gonna have great Thanksgiving Day. We're not hosting, so sounds like you got a harder week ahead of you than I do. But thank you so much for having me on. It's an honor and privilege. I'm just glad I get to continue to serve in some way, shape, or form. And thank you guys for having this show and getting veterans' voices out there.
Well, thank
Yes, sir.
you. It's therapy for me, but I also get to continue my mission of reaching one veteran today. Because if your story or Gunny's story or my story can reach one veteran out there and possibly save their life or get them motivated to help other veterans, then we've completed our mission today. That's what we do.
Absolutely.
So. Well, we're going to drop you down to the green room. Gunny and I are going to wrap up. If you need to jump out and go be with the wife and kids, we understand that. If you want to hang out and we can chit chat afterwards, that's up to you too as well.
Will do. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
All right. How cool was that, Gunny?
Man, they're doing some great stuff out there in DC. And I mean, I know a lot of times, like he said, some of the guys that are in Congress or in the Senate that are veterans take a lot of slack. But they truly are out there fighting for us. And by us, I mean the veterans and the veteran community. And they're taking issues that we have and bringing it to the forefront, and putting it in front of the people that are deciding our futures and are deciding how the VA treats us. So I mean, it's just hats off to them for doing that and taking their time to go and advocate on behalf of all of us, and they're veterans as well. So I mean, they're doing it for them too.
Heck yeah. And Top, how could you forget me, Top? Gosh. Brian.
Hey, as he's up there, what's today? Today's
Today,
23rd, 24th?
23rd, 24th.
All right. So Warriors on a Cruise, go to their Facebook right now. They're running an online auction. It's to help raise money for Warriors on a Cruise to take these guys and gals on a cruise. So Warriors on a Cruise, they got some great items up there, and they're just 2 days, I think. I think the 25th is the last day. So yeah, go on there. Go on. You see something, bid on it, they'll get it out to you. But yeah, Warriors on a Cruise. Steve is the VP. They're doing some great things over there.
Heck yeah. I met the board up in was Frankfurt for the bottle release, and man, they're doing amazing things with Warrior Honor Cruise.
Yeah. You drink the brown water, you can go to jmattingly.com, and there's a Warrior on a Cruise bottle there too, and a portion of that proceeds goes to the organization. And the brown water is good.
Yeah, you're definitely good. So definitely go check out Warrior Honor Cruise. Is it .com?
I can't remember. .org.com. I don't know.
Yeah, .org.com.
Warriors on a Cruise. It's the only
just
one
go to
that's out
Google.
there.
Yeah, just go to Google and type in Warrior Honor Cruise and you'll see it. Make sure you follow them. What they do for Purple Heart veterans is it's awesome. The whole board is Purple Heart veterans. So their mission to them is very personal. So
They got an advisor that's a pretty cool dude too.
yeah, they got an advisor that's pretty. This guy, he's pretty cool. Some days.
Yeah, not on Saturday.
Yeah. If you see Gunny wearing his black shirt, then you need to turn away. Definitely. But no, I want to thank everybody that comes out and watches our show every Sunday, every Monday, anytime we have Tip of the Spear. You guys are why we keep doing what we do. There's been days I'm like, man, I really don't feel like going downstairs and doing an episode because I'm just spent most days. But I know that I have you guys here supporting Gunny and I as we continue our mission to help our brothers and sisters out there and get the resources out there. This is something Gunny and I we've talked about a couple times here over the last month. The difference between a combat veteran and a non-combat veteran. It got really heated last night. I got a text message saying that a veteran was telling another veteran to unalive themselves on a TikTok live. Bro, we can't do that. We can't carry each other forward. We can't heal if we're cutting each other down. So if you're a combat veteran and you're saying, "Oh, well, your service don't matter because you were a non-combat role," cut that junk out, man. It's not right. Yeah, I was infantry. I was 0311. Did I see combat? No. I was in from 97 to 01, got out, then got recalled back in. Did I see combat? No. Did I have rounds coming down range at me? No. But guess what? My service matters just as much as your service matters. Um, so cut that junk out, man. Cut it out. The toxicity within the veteran community right now needs to go away. We can't help each other if we're at each other's necks. Now, I bantering back and forth between branches, I'm all for it. If as long as it's all fun and games. But once you start that negative aspect of things and you're cutting people down and telling them to unalive themselves, bro, to me, you ain't a veteran if you do that. That's the way I look at it. If you're going to tell another veteran to unalive themselves, then you're not worth the ink that you wrote your name on that dotted line. So that's the way I feel about it. So anyway,
I'm not going to get angry tonight.
Yeah, I know. I had to get that off my chest because when we ended the show last night, I was talking about the text message, and I had to get it off my chest tonight because it
Yeah.
As long as I've been doing volunteer work within the veteran community and then started this podcast, it's always been my mission to not miss that one veteran. Unfortunately, we can't save them all. There was a Marine out in Montana that came on alive and said, "Hey, this is what's going on." And everybody was like, "Hey, reach out to me, reach out to me, reach out to me." He talked to one person for 4 hours on the phone. That night, he succumbed to his demons. And that just ripped a big hole because, we tried and tried to get this guy to get some help, and it didn't help. Nothing that we could say to him helped him. The medicine that the VA put him on had him feeling that way. So, like we said, you have to be your own advocate. If your doctor changes your meds and it has an adverse reaction, it causes you to start hallucinating and stuff like that, stop taking that medicine. Call your doctor back and say, "Hey, this is not working because this doctor and this doctor are not talking together, and the medicine is not working together. It's fighting each other." And so you have to be your own advocate, and don't let the compassion fatigue wear you out. Take care of yourself. I know Gunny and we've talked about this numerous times. Compassion fatigue is a real thing. Take a break if you have to, whether it's a month, 2 months. Take a break. Take care of
Okay to say
yourself.
no.
Yeah, you have to know when to say no. You definitely have to take care of yourself. Gunny, this is you, my friend.
Yeah, you're not alone. You still have worth. You still have value. Don't let the dark days win. Surround yourself with people that are going to tear you up, bring you up, and not tear you down. And it's okay not to be okay. It's not okay to be the victim all the time.
Yeah, it's okay to be not okay, and it's okay to ask for help.
Absolutely.
Don't
It
let
takes
the
strength to
Yeah.
ask for help. That's not a sign of weakness. No matter what you were taught during your time in service, asking for help is not a sign of weakness.
Yeah, asking for help is not a sign of weakness, and it took me a long time to figure that out. Because for the longest time, I'm a Marine. I don't need help. I can do it myself. And then it took my wife and Gunny to make me realize that I'm not okay. And then I started getting the help that I needed, and I'm slowly getting back being able to enjoy being around large crowds and stuff of that nature. Um, That way I can live life again. I didn't want to feel like I was where I couldn't live life. So uh, it's okay to be not okay, but it's also okay to ask for help. This right here. The uniform may come off, but the bond remains. And together we heal, we rise, and we carry each other forward. That right there is so powerful. As long as we are one, regardless if you're a combat vet, non-combat vet, as long as we remain together, we heal, we rise, and we carry each other forward. Just let that sink in. Let it sink in. We
7%.
carry, yeah,
7% of the total U.S. population has ever served. We're the minority. We have to take care of each other.
because nobody else is going to. Hashtag be someone stranger, guys. I can't say this enough. We as humans are more apt to talk to a complete stranger than the ones we love the most. My wife, I love her to death. 20 years married, just November 18th. We've been together for 23. In the last 3 years, she's learned more about me and my military service in the last 3 years than the first 20 years of us being together. And that's because me would rather talk to a complete stranger than the ones I love the most because I want to protect them. So if you're out and about and you see somebody and it looks like they're having a bad day, go up to them and ask them how they're doing. And if they give you the red flag, I'm okay, I'm hanging in there, I'm living the dream, ask the next hard question. How are you really doing? But you have to be ready for that conversation. It could be a 5-minute conversation, could be an 8-hour conversation. You have to be ready for that conversation. And don't try to fix them. Just let them talk. Let them vent. You never know. You might save that person's life. You never know, because sometimes that's all we need is somebody to vent our frustrations to. Just sit there and listen to them.
And it takes a village. You can't go at this alone. Use your people, your friends, your family. It doesn't matter if they served or not. Just call them up, tell them, hey, I just need your ear. I just need you to listen. Or pick up your phone, open up your contacts, do the Dan and Babs cell phone roulette, smack it, give that person a call. They don't answer, leave a message. Hey, just thinking about you today. Go right back at it. Go until somebody picks up the phone.
Yeah, definitely.
Your voice just might be the one that saves their life.
Mr. Al Hero, how are you, sir? Triple Threat Vets podcast. If that's another podcast you guys need to follow out there. They do every Thursday night, 7 p.m. Central, I believe. It might be 8 p.m. Central. I'm not for sure. I watch it every Thursday night, so it just clockwork. So go check out Triple Threat Vets podcast with Al Hero, Mr. Martin Ty Cobb, and Mr. Matt Johnson. I had a brain fart there for a second. I was like, what's his name? I know it. It's on the tip of my tongue.
Well, and you're going to say it here in a minute when we talk about.
I know. Good brother, loving the show. Thank you, Al. 7 Central, he says. Awesome. Big shout out to our partners, Heroes Media Group, Reese Across America Radio, which you can find Homefront Sit Rep on Thursday nights, 11 p.m. Eastern. Thursday nights, 11 p.m. Eastern. Make sure I said that right so Gunny don't laugh at me. Military United podcast streams, Elite Engraving that made this phenomenal hat, and Gunny's got one there as well. Look at that. Phenomenal hats. Mr. Al Hero's got one too. I see him rocking it all the time.
That's phenomenal.
Phenomenal. That's Mr. Al Hero's word right there. I stole that from Al Hero there. Phenomenal. Also, a big shout out to Valor Coins and Pins, Brent Casey and Brian Casey, the grandsons of the Marine Herschel Woody Williams. Their mission is to help support the Woody Williams Foundation that puts Gold Star monuments across the country. That was Woody's main mission in life, was to honor Gold Star families and put monuments up for them. So go check out Valor Coins and Pin. Also go check out Herschel Woody Williams the Woody Williams Foundation. Go check them out. And then also check out sameflagsameoath.com. Mr. Matt Johnson and Becky Johnson outside of Katy, Texas. Small veteran-owned T-shirt company made our shirt right there. Marine it down that Uncle Sam is wearing. So go check out sameflagsameoath.com. And then can't forget Mr. Darren Davis with rdcshoecompany.com. Go check out Darren. Darren's got some amazing shoes. He's got one that's called Glory, which is the first shoe. Then he came out with the Patriot, which is the shoe that I have, and it's friggin' comfortable as all get out. Each box comes with a Medal of Honor recipient card placard inside the box. A hero card that's inside the box, and it's awesome. And then they have the Folds of Honor. Is it Folds? It's Folds of Honor
shoe. But I guess those are more comfortable than the Patriot.
So heck, we're gonna have to get with Darren and say, hey, let's do this.
Yeah.
Make some stuff happen there. I don't think I'm forgetting anybody tonight, am I?
I think that's it. I think you got them all.
I think I did. That's the first time I didn't forget somebody. But yeah, I want to thank everybody for coming on and hanging out with Gunny and I for this hour and 30 some odd minutes here. Also, big shout out to my wife for hooking us up with some cool home front sit rep shirts. She did amazing. That yellow pops on this gray.
I mean, even this one too, man.
Yeah.
My wife says she really loves this color on me too.
My wife loves that color on me too.
And then with this hat too, you got a little.
I know, right?
Little matchy going on.
I know, it's phenomenal.
That's phenomenal.
Love it. I love it, guys. Thank you, guys.
I love it, man. I love it.
All right.
What you talking about, Willis?
I gotta hit them all tonight.
Yeah, because you didn't get to last night.
Yeah, but if everybody goes to homefrontsitrep.com and click on merch, the link to the hats are there, the link to the shirt is there, our challenge coin is on there. So, support the show.
Yeah, so on the challenge coin, it'll send an email. I think it'll send an email to me. We do have challenge coins. They're $25 a piece. Gunny and I, so I gave Gunny an idea of what I wanted, and man, they come out amazing. I'm waiting for it to focus. Oh, you know what? I think I turned the autofocus. Yeah, I turned the autofocus off.
And there's a special surprise on the back.
So we do have those. They're available for $25 a piece. That's $20 for the coin, $5 for shipping.
And that's just going to be put right back into more coins.
Yeah, and that's just going to be put right back into more coins. All right, guys, it is that time of night. Once again, thank you, Mr. Garrett Exner, for coming on. Semper Fi to you, and thank you, Samuel Brennan, for reaching out to me and say, hey, I got this Marine. I think he'd be a great fit for your show. Sure enough, he was. So definitely thanks to Samuel for linking us together. But it is that time of night, my friends. I got to get upstairs and check on the wife and kids, or kid. I won't have the other kid till tomorrow night when I go pick her up. But like we always say on Homefront Sit Rep, stay safe out there. We got your
six.
Thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed this show.
Suggestions and comments are always welcome.
Cannot wait to have another great show with y'all.
Don't forget you can find Homefront Sit Rep on Apple, Amazon, Spotify, or wherever you get your favorite podcasts.
Stay safe out there. I got your six.